Alrighty, first time back in a while. Let me shift over the scene here. Right, okay, so today we're going to reintegrate and sort of rebuild some of the HUD elements for our condition here. Yeah, you can see the stamina bar is working in the new build, but we're gonna rebuild the functionality for the condition gauges underneath. Hope the audio levels are okay. Please let me know, guys, whoever's watching, if you can't or cannot hear me, or if the music is too loud. So let's see, where do we want to start? Probably here on the widget itself. You can see the graphic or the widget we build when we start playing. Basically, we want to begin creating some functionality for them. Yeah, the current stamina bar is actually controlled by a bound event that's called onConstruct. And previously, we were doing that in the old system for the condition gauges as well. And we had a whole bunch of math or executions to drive all of that. And not all of it's applicable, so we are going to have to rebuild a bunch of it. Okay, let's see here. The first step may be to go to our parent class for our exploration mode and check out the dispatchers. We have a condition percentage and change, which is interesting. Okay. I think we're going to get rid of these first. We're going to have to check condition level on construct. Then have to hide or remove maybe the gauges we don't need. Those will never change dynamically because those other gauges are representative of the additional party members. So you're always going to have the one. So we can check exploration mode here. Also, we could do a simple cast to our game instance. Get game instance. And most likely this should be more than adequate. And we should be able to grab party members. This array should work. And we'll get the length. And we're gonna branch. Maybe not branch, we have to switch. Looks like, yeah, I think that's probably the better choice. Switch on integer. Well, the default value. Well, yeah, we'll keep the default, and we're gonna start at 1. Because you're always gonna have at least one party member. I have to grab these, and I probably have to promote them to a variable and give them a proper name. So this one isn't bad. I'll try and keep this same. Call it condition gauge. Party member 3. And condition gauge. Party member 4. And with those set, we should be able to grab them. Oh, there we go. Okay, Oh, it's gonna annoy me. That's better. Okay. And if it's 1, we're gonna do nothing. But if we're executing and we have 2 party members, we're gonna have to hide. Remove child. Whoops, not remove child. Remove from parent. Because this is the subject. Actually, I got this backwards. We're going to remove on all 3 except for the last one, in which case we want to keep all that data. By default, I think we'll pass through to here. And pin 4 will come down and around. So, yep, 3. Here we're going to get rid of these 2. And on, if you have 3 party members, just get rid of the 4th one. And so this should now be functional. If we jump in here, perfect. We got 2 party members, so we only got 2 gauges. It all checks out. We are going to need to animate, quickly address in the designer here. We have these animations for animating the HUD in and out, and as you can see, the new elements I added aren't really part of the animation, so we're gonna have to add those back, or not add those back in, but rather add them in. So everything can animate in and out. Minimap, we got overlay conditions. This should have a better name. I'm gonna call it party number 1. That way we should have some nice consistency between the old and the new components. Okay, we need new tracks for all widgets, and we want to make sure we get the right ones. Part number 3. Perfect, okay. Let's grab party member 2 and party member 4. Each of them are going to get a transform track. Probably make this a bit bigger. And let's add our transform track. Now let's expand all 3 of these. It's going to be pretty simple. We want to make sure we actually follow pace with the original. So yeah, they all start at volume 0, so we can key these. And where do these end up? So we'll go with negative 960. So I'll do the same here and apply negative 960. Yep, it's looking good. Looking looking adequate. We'll compile. Stop messing around with the animations. Let's double check, make sure that's working. Yep, it's quick, but it's consistent now, which is good. So back over on the HUD. I'll get rid of this. Now we want to create more bound events. So an event for condition run as well as condition toggle. It's basically like an activation. Let's think about how I want to do this. I suppose the first step is to set up the event dispatchers. So here we do have condition run with the state change. I'll call this activates. Probably have too many windows open. Yeah, they had signifier and condition active. So the first step is going to the ability to turn on to activate a condition. Is active, and I had state change. Oh, I see. I'm trying to remember what my past self did. It's quite a while since I touched this widget. And now when it comes to reintegrating it, I kind of have to reteach myself. I call this, yeah, we'll keep this the same as state change. Whoops. State change. Okay. Gonna create a new one. That's gonna be update HUD. Condition activate. And if I could spell, if I could just spell, make a new variable. I'll call this active. And then we're going to compile and save all. Just giving it a minute to run. Okay. Back over on the HUD. Let's use condition toggle. Set this up first. Let's move this old stuff probably below. So just like we did for the first event, we're going to assign condition activate. We should have a nice name for this. Condition toggle. Oh, screw you, past self, for using that name. Temporarily. We'll just call it new. And then we can call this event and... Yep, I knew it. Okay. Like, it's probably not ideal, but as a start, we want to replace this execution. I just want to see what's going on here. So we have condition gauge active. Let's find references. What's going on here? Oh, we just set it true or false, and based on that variable, we set the brush color of the condition signifier. Oh, which is here. I get it. Whoa, that was so loud. My apologies. I'm just gonna close that tab. Close my messages. I'll just ignore it. Sure, it's nothing urgent. What do they say? If it's urgent, they'll call you, right? Yeah, we'll leave it at peak performance for now, and let's test to make sure this works. So we'll compile, and then we'll run over to our exploration mode, and we'll use the U key to call condition activate, and probably toggle, flip-flop, something like this. And that should allow us to test that that functionality is working. Let's jump in here, hit the U key, and I'm getting nothing. If I jump back over to the HUD while the game's running, I can debug. See what's going on here. Well, we are getting something. I mean, it's working. The input's working and the function's working, but our functionality is not. Or our desired effect. Condition signifier. Let's double check. What is that condition signifier? It is this. And it's already set to visible. It is just hidden. Right? So that's definitely working. Jump back over to my graph. Yeah, we're setting brush color to the peak performance color. These shouldn't matter. So we're gonna have to solve this mystery. I wonder if it's a resolution thing. Let me compile this and preview larger. Okay, so it is, but in the preview, viewport, the size, I guess, is small, and it reduces the scaling of that to a super small size. Perhaps we want a size override on the designer. If we jump back over, yeah, you can't see it at all. So, size box, height override. Well, it is overriding. How odd. What if it's 2? How high can we go? 10. 10's a bit large, but for testing purposes. Yeah, so definitely is fine. I'm going to put this at 2 for now. Okay, cool. Our signifier and functionality is working. So, what happens next? Let me just refer to my notebook here. Oh, hey, Julio. Thanks for stopping by. How's my audio levels? Is it all right? Okay, we have our condition gauge is active. Now, the next step. We'd probably have to color code these. So condition gauge, exhausted, onset, and neutral. Let's just grab these. Okay, these are essentially active. This is a better player underscore em condition gauges. That is what those are. Now, set fill color. Target is progress bar. That is correct. Right. Tint. Yeah, full color and opacity. Okay, so that is correct. So, in terms of initializing, okay, let's comment this out to make future work easier. Check if condition is active. If true, set colors. State. Maybe, probably won't need that, but I'm going to save it for later just in case. Set signifier. Appropriate to condition rank. Okay. And we're going to come over here and then sort of do more of the same. Try and keep our wires semi-organized. If false, set color to 0, 0, 0. Oh, I guess you can include the alpha there as well. Makes sense. Okay. We'll say maybe we'll go with green or something. Test out those different colors, but they should work. There shouldn't be any issues there. We need the initial setting to the initial event to drive that, not just the call of the bound event that we create. So I'm gonna make a custom event here. I'm just gonna leave it as new custom event for now. I'm gonna plug that in, and at the end of our construct, we're gonna just call that. Perfect. And then we can activate it like normal. One thing that's not up to date is also the stamina. I wonder if that needs to take place on our begin play. Call update SP with nothing, but it should, if we're not increasing or decreasing. Oh, nope, that's not correct at all. I suppose I should start at stamina points. Yep, that is definitely more like it. Okay, cool. Let this save. Update my files to our source control. Okay, so then set setup gauges. And then I gotta do the same. The same for these gauges. Oh shoot, these aren't. These are the borders, so we can't use those. We need to go to the designer and grab the actual progress bars. condition gauge underscore 2. Just rename these for clarity. So 2, 3, and 4. Let's compile. Now these should be able to plug right in. And if we grab the same color, this should work perfectly. Then set up subsequent. No, not subsequent. Remaining changes for party members. I'm actually going to mark this in black just so I can keep track of this for later, because party members and the active character are all going to have their own condition gauges to draw from in terms of their colors for the setup, but also for the stats of those gauges. But it's good to see that it's all working for setup, which is nice. Yeah, very cool. And if we go over to our game instance and throw in additional party members, yeah, I think if we even leave it none, it should count, because it's going off the array length anyways. Yeah, so that's cool. And then we have additional party members that don't exist. Yeah, who are these people? I don't know. They don't exist, but it's cool to see the functionality is adaptable. They're ghosts. Ghost hunters. Sounds like a TV show. Okay, so I will mark this as black as well, because we're not actually checking anything. We're just manually setting it. It's not dynamic at the moment. This was to apply text, but I think we got rid of that. I got rid of that text, so we'll just delete this. And I'm going to have to refer to my document on my other monitor here. To see what we go for next. I see. Okay. So the issue is the condition system is sort of integral across different areas of the game. It works it's stored on the game instance because it's part of the character's data. It is displayed on the HUD when you're in exploration mode. It's also displayed on the status menu when you look at individual party members' statuses. So we're going to have to jump all over the place here a little bit. Just a little bit, so that we can continue setting up our HUD. We won't worry about the pause menu and that kind of stuff for now. So I believe if we come on over to the game instance, we have our character data stuff. Now this is kind of dirty. A lot of variables are needed to be cleaned up because they're from the old build of our game. But you can see advanced has condition points, condition level. Maya had that as well. Yeah, CP level, condition points. For some reason hers is a float. So I couldn't even tell you why. That being what it is, I think actually we're going to add that data into the primary data for our characters because each character is going to require it, and then they're going to store it from battle to battle and level to level across different environments and areas of the game. So I wish I could control B to this structure, like a shortcut. I'm not really sure if there's a way. Anyways, we have our structures in here, I believe, and we have primary data somewhere. Stats primary, is this it? Yes, this looks correct. Okay. Everything is integers right now. So let's see. If I look at my documents, we need to add three more variables. One is going to be a condition level. Oh lord, there it is. All of our character classes are just gonna need to get updated now. And a few widgets. Well, that makes good sense, actually. I get it. Wish we could work while this was running. Well, now that it's done, let us continue. Okay, the next one is the condition rank. And condition points. So your condition level is going to be an integer, and it's going to exist, I believe, on a spectrum from 0 to 9, or maybe 0 to 9 plus, or possibly, well, 0 is the origin, it's the starting point. It's possible that will go negative as well, so it'll find that it's an integer. For the time being, I'm going to tooltip this with my documentation text. And the condition rank is going to be an enumerator. Let's see. Yeah, physical condition. So you can see here the default value. It's going to be neutral, is the default value. And condition points can probably be an integer as well. Default value is to be determined. For now, we'll leave it at 0. Let's control Shift S to save all. I'll let that run. I'll try and read ahead here in my notes. Actually, before I forget, I should tooltip these. Cool. So our default state is neutral now. Now, if everything is going to work as intended, the EM characters, I believe, let's look at advance, for instance. Begin play is called Perhaps we should get this character's physical condition. So many ways to do this, and just trying to see which way would be ideal. So this widget has a reference to, well, we can create a reference to the game instance through a variable. Yeah, I think we may want to do it that way. Or I suppose the exploration mode character could hold all of that information. Yeah, let's do that. So you get party members. You can probably grab it from there. Sets reference. Switch. Nope. For each loop. So this might end up becoming its own function, possibly. Then we're going to switch here. So for each of the party members, we're gonna basically get the appropriate party primary assets. Yeah, I think we're gonna have this character, our explorational character, carry the primary data of the party. So that we don't always have to go to the game instance after each battle or as we update these values. And then when we go and transition between levels or modes, we can update the game instance then, which I believe helps preserve the data integrity. So you should probably clear this. And then we're going to add. And we're going to select. And we're going to grab our index from our array, and basically for advanced primary stats, we're going to throw that in here. And for Maya, we'll grab her primary, and then, just gotta remember to update this once additional party members are added into the game. But this should dump all the characters into the primary party structure. Yes, you can collapse this for now. Party members primary stats. Okay, so now that our exploration mode character is getting all that stuff, we probably don't need this reference to the game instance anymore. We'll grab our exploration mode character, we'll get the new variable we made, and we'll use this length. And we'll test that real quick. That should be fine. Still should count as 2. Oh my god, why is it so slow? Oh, I'm so scared. I'm terrified. Oh, I must not have compiled, that's why. Okay, yeah, well, we have 2 gauges, which is correct. Oh yeah, I have a ton of errors, probably, from all the unplugged variables all over. Okay, good to see those are working. So the next thing I want to do is ensure, so in the game instance here is where we're setting our primary stats for our party members in the game instance. So yeah, you can see the stats here being set, condition level 0, neutral, condition points. We'll leave those empty. What I wanted to test was on Maya. Let's just change it so it's different. So we'll say her status is, or her rank is conditioned, and we'll leave advances at neutral. Oh, advances there. So actually, this should be the wrong table. Wonder why that table was there. Yeah, that's better. Anywho, so we set their stats here. Maya's is higher than Vance's. Now if we go to back to the HUD, that should now be held in this variable because the exploration mode character gets it from the game instance. So we need to use that data to drive these. Basically, essentially it's for each of these, and they're all going to be different. So basically we get a reference, or no, we should get a copy. Copy, changes will not be propagated. That back to the array. Yeah, we don't want to make changes here. We just want to grab the data, and then we want to break that struct. So basically, it should work something like this. Now 0 is going to be the main character. Um, and looks like I'm going to make a macro out of this. Collapse to macro, and we're going to call it get party member condition rank color. But that's not all. We need to output, we need to create an input for that. Position, or I suppose index would be better because it's -1 because arrays count at 0. Yeah, so that goes here. I'm going to grab a few others. Oh, okay. That's better. I want this to be party number 1, or index 2 rather, and index 3. And we plug these in and hook them up. So now we should have different colors on our HUD. Oh, and we don't. So let's figure out what's going on here. So we clear that array just fine. We grab the enumerators of the party that's been established. And for each of them, we add their primary data into the array. Okay, I'm pretty sure I know what's up. I believe it is because this is being executed immediately, and there's a slight delay here. Well, it still may not be calling these updates in time, despite the fact we got rid of the delay. So what I will do is change this to a function instead. Whoops, that's not what I want. My beautiful graph is going to get ruined. Expand node, collapse to function, and we call this get party member primary stats. Oh, actually party members for plural. Yeah, whatever, that's fine. We don't need this here though. We're gonna have Hmm. I was gonna have the game instance call it after it sets all of these stats, but it would still be after the HUD spawns. And because of the way the HUD is structured, it's all from event construct. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be. We could have a custom event instead of construct. It could be like just have a test. We could do set data, a function that's sort of like this. This widget should have this preset before this gets called, and then over on the game instance, we call party member stats. And then at the end of this function, we could call sorry, not update, set. I have to get the widget reference. We call set data. I think this is correct. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yep. So Vance is the primary character. We can see that Maya is a party member. The sequence here isn't correct. That's because we haven't updated the party status. Sorry, the pause menu. But they're both there, and they both have the conditions that we specified, which is perfect. This still works. Our signifier. Let's save. Let's save all this stuff. Good gosh, that's a long compile. Gonna get rid of this. That's not necessary. That might be some old junk too, potentially. Okay, so we're going to say set stats called by PGZ game mode. Sets initial stats for characters. based on data tables when called. Data tables list. Oh my gosh, level index. Okay. So advance in Maya. Yeah, these could probably be macroed potentially in the future once everything is finalized. Once complete. Send party members primary stats. That's for party members. Yeah. Yeah, move that down here. Cool. Save all that stuff again. Just double check. So strangely, so Maya's stats are set as neutral. Oh, advances are conditioned. So it's a little bit backwards. If we come over to, because this is the sequence, because this is the sequence of those characters, it's a little backwards. Even though Maya's not our active character, her gauge is being displayed first because of how the array orders things. And obviously that's an important sequence in terms of how that's listed. So once we create later, I'm planning to set up a party selection type of widget as well. So we'll address that later. But for the time being it works, and we'll just manually orient it. Probably want to drive this dynamically after this function as well. Most likely. Yeah, because this could get annoying for while we develop. So perhaps party members can be cleared. Um, so the active character is switch. Yeah, you know what? It's just, is it better or worse? Because either way, even if I set up a shortcut workaround, it's still going to be imperfect for when you want to try single characters. Okay, let's get back to the HUD. So all that stuff is working. So what if we try recovering? Just a quick last test. What need is that? Back over on the HUD, we need to let's organize these a little bit better. Next, we're going to assign condition run. Oops. And I want to see what was going on in the previous version. Because depending on the complexity, so we would check to see if we're changing the state. If true, if true, we updated all the colors, I think. I think that's what was going on. Right? Yeah. That's exactly what was going on. And then we would signifier update, which is this. Oh, it's updated signifier's color, of course. That's fine. Depletes condition gauge. Yeah, because we're only losing. Okay, that kind of makes sense. We're going to remove, because we only want to work with one gauge for this step. Don't want to start with a more dynamic setup. I want to build the foundations first, then we can apply it to the other party members. Cool. So back over here. I don't necessarily know if we need to use the exact same setup, but for the time being, I'll continue using it. Let's just move these up. We don't need this anymore. We'll make some space. Condition run new, probably a good way to go. Sure, we can duplicate this, check for state change. For the time being, we're just going to leave it as false, and we'll just animate, or not animate, program straight through. Condition gauges. Let's compile and check this again. Okay, so the issue is that the percentage information isn't being passed through to this HUD yet. We set up the color profile type, and the signifier as well, but we don't actually have the percentage of those values. Well, I'm thinking it might be a good time to stop. A little over an hour for today, so I'll be back again tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be working on something new and this will be done. But if not, I'll do a part 2 of this. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the dev stream,